I see y'all ain't into what y'all watching right now, so
I'm gonna
go ahead and introduce everybody to the next one. Right here we got the story of Dr. Nondumiso Nkosi. You feel me? We're gonna go ahead and like it so that these motherfuckers give us more videos. We talking true crime right now. We talking true crime right now. AWAD true crime. AWAD true crime. Do your homework. If you know, you know, you know. After every intro, we gotta tag the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? For the editing me type shit.
On 5:30 in the morning, outside. It was at around 5:30 in the morning, outside a Virgin Active gym in Nelspruit, when gunshots shattered the silence. A young doctor collapsed in the parking lot. A promising life cut short in a calculated act of violence. This is the story of Dr. Nondumiso Nkosi. Let's get into it. Dr. Nondumiso Evidence Nkosi was born on the 17th of May in 1990 near Mbombela in Mpumalanga province. Mbombela is also known as Nelspruit. At the time of her passing in November 2024, she was 34 years old. Outside of her busy career saving lives as a medical doctor, Nondumiso was a devoted mother to 2 young children whom she shared with her estranged husband, Sifiso Vusmuzi Sibanyoni. Some news reports have indicated that Nondumiso's surname was Sibanyoni as well. Others have also even hyphenated it as Nkosi Sibanyoni. However, there is no indication that she had professionally or even legally changed her surname. Rather, she practiced as Dr. Nkosi. Nondumiso had pursued her medical studies in Cuba through the South Africa-Cuba Medical Training Program, path that demanded a great deal of sacrifice, but opened doors to her dream of becoming a doctor. She returned home to South Africa to begin her internship at Temba Hospital near Mbombela, before later joining Rob Ferreira Hospital, also in Mbombela. There, she initially worked in pediatrics and later worked in oncology and emergency. At the hospital, she quickly gained respect of colleagues and patients. Known for her compassion, discipline, and the dedication that she showed to every patient she treated. But behind her professional success, her personal life was filled with turmoil. Her marriage to Sifiso had deteriorated, and she eventually sought legal protection from him. In retaliation, Sifiso had also taken out his own protection order against his estranged wife.
What happened? What's the
In Nondumiso's protection order, she detailed how he had been abusive in the marriage. He had called her a witch. He had even threatened to take her life. Despite the chilling warning, Nondumiso continued with her life and career in the same town, holding on to hope for her children and the future. She and Sifiso had met while she was still very young and in medical school in Cuba. They had a long-distance relationship. As early as 2016, the two of them were together.
So Sifiso was this
in medical school in Cuba.
And she was that side.
They had a long-distance relationship. As early as 2016, the two of them were together. When she came back to South Africa, the two of them got married before things quickly took a dark turn. Some of her family members and colleagues would later argue that Sifiso was intimidated by her and feeling inferior. Sifiso himself had a certificate in the medical field, although not as prestigious. He held a nursing certificate from Ekufundeni Nursing College, although he did not work as a nurse. On the morning of the 20th of November 2024, at around 5:30 in the morning, Nondumiso arrived at Virgin Active Gym in Nelspruit for an early workout before work. This was routine, something that she would do daily before starting her work. As she was getting out of her car, Nondumiso was ambushed in the parking lot and shot multiple times. She collapsed to the ground, and despite the quick arrival of emergency responders, she was pronounced dead at the scene. Witnesses were left horrified, and the news of her murder spread rapidly. The medical community was devastated. How could a woman who had dedicated her life to saving the lives of others be taken in such a violent and deliberate way?
How did the violence
If you are
happen?
intrigued by my storytelling, please like this video. That is very motivating. And also, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. I also want to say thank you to everyone else that has subscribed. From the very beginning, suspicion fell heavily on the estranged husband, Sifiso. Friends and family members believed that he was behind her killing, pointing to the threats he had made to her and the abuse she had endured in the relationship. At her memorial service, speaker after speaker took to the podium, but instead of celebrating her life as a medical doctor, as a mother or friend, the service became dominated by the theme of gender-based violence. Her estranged husband was notably absent. For many, her death was more than just a personal tragedy. It was another devastating reminder of the femicide crisis tearing through South Africa. Police investigations uncovered a disturbing pattern of events, and on the 8th of July 2025, about 8 months after Nondumiso's murder, Sifiso Sibanyoni was arrested and charged with murder and conspiracy to commit murder. According to a key witness that came forward to assist police in this case, Sifiso had once visited him, accompanied by his brother, seeking Muti or to be introduced to someone who could help with Muti to kill his wife. He had confessed his intentions to that witness, allegedly. The witness also allegedly linked him with someone who could provide Muti, but it was also in that conversation that Sifiso informed the witness that he had previously paid 70,000 rands to 2 hitmen to kill Nondumiso. However, the 2 men had taken the money and ran off without causing harm to Nondumiso. It is not clear exactly what happened with him wanting to get Muti this time. It could be that he realized that he had no access to her and that he could not use Muti, but Sifiso allegedly enlisted the help of 2 other hitmen who ended up being his triggermen for the murder. Unfortunately, the police have not been able to trace down these 2 triggers.
So Nondumiso actually came out the gym and just got damn, and just got gunned down. Well, in GTA, but you know what I mean. Like, she got deleted just like that in a parking lot of a gym. That's why public gyms, bro. Like, personally, myself, I prefer like just like, you know, ordering my own equipment and using that to gym. You know what I'm saying? Like, I try and avoid public spaces as much as I can, even when it comes to like eating. You know what I'm saying? Eating like from restaurant food and shit like that. I'd rather just like order that shit in. You know what I'm saying? But depending on my mood when it comes to that. But gym? Nah, I'd rather do that shit in my own space. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Triggermen. And so far, worryingly, it appears that they might get away with their role in this murder. Soon after Nondumiso's murder, it was also discovered that Sifiso, whose bank account had previously been in the minors, according to police, had received 2 large insurance payouts in early 2025.
Yeah, no.
First, the amount of 200,000 rands, which was paid out in February 2025, followed by 1.5 million rands paid out in March of 2025. These were life insurance policies that he had taken out on the life of Nondumiso. So Sifiso appeared in the Nelspruit Magistrate Court days after his arrest in July 2025 to apply for bail. It was during his bail application that the defense presented information about his educational background and profession, including that he matriculated in 2005, he had a nursing certificate from Ekufundeni Nursing College, and that although he had a certificate as a nurse, he did not work as a nurse, but rather was self-employed as a diesel salesman.
Whoa.
And they also indicated that he told them, this is the defense, in their application, that Sifiso told them that he makes about 80,000 rands on a good month. It's not clear why they sought to present this information to the court, but perhaps it was to say he needed to be let out on bail so that he could continue his business, or that he would not be a flight risk because he had a business that he was running. The state, on the other hand, opposed the bail application, stressing the seriousness of the crime, the strength of the evidence against him, and that he posed danger to witnesses. It was also heard during that bail application that Sifiso's girlfriend, whom he was in a relationship with when Nondumiso was murdered, wrote a statement which was presented to the court that Sifiso could not have been the one involved in Nondumiso's murder because on the morning that Nondumiso was murdered, Sifiso was in bed with him. Sifiso himself has also said that he could not have been involved in the murder because he was at home sleeping when this thing all occurred. Nondumiso's family members, her friends, and her colleagues protested outside the court, calling for the bail to be denied. In the end, the magistrate denied him bail, stating that his release would endanger the public and disrupt public order due to the protests and anger against him. And the matter was postponed for further investigation, at which the public is watching closely to see when the trial is going to begin, what other evidence is going to be presented at trial that has not been made public, because once again, this is a pre-trial case, which means some of the evidence has not yet been made public. So we can only wait and watch and hope that justice will be served for Dr. Nondumiso Nkosi. That is it for today.
Nah, like when it comes to like two lovers, bro, you can never know like why they be getting into like action or activity that's like this, bro. This is crazy. I might just like title this one hetero.
In murder cases, the presence of a body is crucial evidence. Without it, investigators rely on indirect or circumstantial evidence instead. If a body hasn't been found, there's an uncertainty. Is the victim dead or alive?
Leaves a cliffhanger.
This makes finding even small remains like a bone fragment extremely important for conclusively proving a murder. An unusual case from February 4th, 2015 in a remote village in Hwasong, Gyeonggi Province demonstrates this. Here, murder charges were filed based on evidence suggesting death, despite no body being found. This case was particularly shocking. The killer used a method not seen before, getting rid of the body completely with a meat cutter.
What?
Disturbing and unprecedented approach.
Turned it into mincemeat. Turned it into mincemeat, bro. Yo. I don't know, man. Dark Asia, bro. You got me yellow marked with this music that you be playing in the background, bro. That's why I ain't like reacted to your shit in like a little bit of a minute. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna go ahead and get this muted while you intro your shit, and then we're gonna get it started. Let's get it right now.
Pak, a 66-year-old widow who had been on her own since her husband passed away 5 months earlier, lived by herself. On February 5th, 2015, a friend from church who was supposed to accompany her to the hospital found Mrs. Pak's home oddly quiet. The dining table had cold hotdog, which is Korean pancakes, and rice that was washed but never cooked. No sign of Mrs. Pak anywhere. Known for her punctuality, Mrs. Pak had lived in the same neighborhood for over 40 years and never missed her daily 5 a.m. church visit. It was very much unlike her to miss an appointment or a church service without letting anyone know. Worried, her son asked around about her and eventually reported her missing to the police. CCTV footage showed Mrs. Pak getting off a bus at 8:20 p.m. on February 4th, likely heading home. This suggested her house was the last place she'd been. Mr. Kim, who had rented a part of Mrs. Pak's property for 15 years, was questioned about her disappearance. His response was defensive and unhelpful, which was strange. On February 8th, the situation escalated when Mr. Kim actively interfered with the police's efforts to inspect Mrs. Pak's house, especially the area he rented.
He interfered in that?
His behavior became even more suspicious the next day when a fire, suspected to be arson, broke out in the part of the house where Mr. Kim lived. The police, who hadn't initially suspected Mr. Kim, were puzzled by his lack of reaction when his home of 15 years was destroyed in the fire, making them more suspicious of him. When asked, he calmly said, "I left the heater on to dry some clothes. That must have caused the fire," showing a surprisingly helpful attitude for the first time since the incident began.
What was his reaction
The next day, the Hwasong Eastern Police Station in Gyeonggi moved Mrs. Pak's case from the Women and Juveniles Investigation Team to the Violent Crime Unit. This was a big shift, turning it from a missing persons case into a murder investigation, with Mr. Kim as the prime suspect. Forensic analysis, including 6 examinations and reenactments, concluded that the fire was deliberately set with inflammable materials.
How?
CCTV showed Mr. Kim leaving his house around 2:45 p.m. on the 9th, and the fire broke out just 2 minutes later. On February 12th, the police arrested Mr. Kim on arson charges, also trying to link him to Mrs. Park's presumed murder. He strongly denied everything, insisting he had neither killed Mrs. Park nor started the fire, showing incredible confidence during questioning. Without a body or a clear murder weapon, there wasn't an obvious reason for Mr. Kim to just confess. So the focus turned to tracking down Mrs. Pak's and Mr. Kim's movements, leading to a major operation with 6 violent crime teams combing through all available local CCTV footage. There were no signs of Mrs. Pak using a taxi or a rental car. Black box footage confirmed she got off her regular church bus and headed straight home, the last place she was seen.
Damn.
Additionally, CCTV at the alley entrance leading to Mrs. Pak's home showed Mr. Kim driving his white truck there, arriving an hour before she did. The next day, at around 9 a.m., Mr. Kim's truck was seen on CCTV again. This time, he was heading to a factory about 30 minutes away, with something that looked like a box in the back seat. When he left the factory, the box was no longer there. The youngest detective on the case noticed this box, a detail that was easy to miss in the grainy CCTV footage. They got hold of more CCTV footage from the factory Mr. Kim visited.
And then what?
At about 9:40 a.m., Mr. Kim was seen taking a machine out of the box in the trunk and going inside the factory, coming out later with nothing in his hands. This machine, a meat cutter about 60 centimeters tall and weighing 40 kilograms, typically used in butcheries, didn't seem related to Mr. Kim's job as a day laborer.
Oh.
The detectives began to suspect it might be connected to the crime, preparing themselves to unravel
At this
a
point,
deeply disturbing case. Despite Mr. Kim's denials, evidence linked to Mrs. Park was found in several places. Luminol, a substance used to detect blood, was sprayed in the truck's back seat where the box had been. 2 spots lit up blue, which forensic analysis confirmed as Mrs. Park's DNA. Even more compelling, Mrs. Park's DNA was found in the factory where Mr. Kim had left the meat cutter, both on the spot where the machine was placed, and, shockingly, on a wooden log he claimed to have used to test the cutter. Before the police could catch up with him, Mr. Kim went back to the factory at night and took the meat cutter, leaving its whereabouts unknown. Remaining firm in his denial, Mr. Kim's next steps were quite predictable. On the night, on February 10, he retrieved the meat cutter and drove to Seoul around 1:30 a.m. 6 hours later, he was back in Hwasong, but without the meat cutter. Considering his route through Cheonggae IC, the police speculated he may have disposed of the meat cutter somewhere in Uiwang or Suwon, cities located between Hwasong and Seoul. The detectives followed Mr. Kim's trail, walking along the national highway and reviewing CCTV footage. In one such footage from a farm in Uiwang, they spotted a truck believed to be Mr. Kim's, parked in the dark. During their search, they came across a 165 centimeters long bandsaw, seemingly part of the meat cutter.
Yeah.
Astonishingly, even 2 weeks after the incident, Mrs. Park's blood and DNA were clearly found on it. However, the absence of Mrs. Park's body meant this evidence alone couldn't definitively prove Mr. Kim's guilt in her murder. A body was essential to clearly demonstrate that the bandsaw was used in her death. Nevertheless, the trail of evidence was compelling. After leaving the factory with the meat cutter, Mr. Kim drove to an embankment road near Hwangguji Stream around 12:50 p.m., then appeared on CCTV about 5 kilometers away at around 3:40 p.m. He spent nearly 3 hours to travel a distance that should have taken just 6 minutes. Investigator Kim Kyung-yeon surmised that the box in the back seat, which vanished after Mr. Kim left the embankment, likely held Mrs. Park's remains. Despite an extensive search involving thousands of people in the area where Mr. Kim presumably disposed of the body, it was never found.
Damn.
Reviewing more CCTV footage, the police couldn't find any scenes of Mr. Kim disposing of the main part of the meat cutter. This led detectives to consider that after getting rid of the bandsaw, the cutter was just a piece of scrap.
For real?
Focusing on this angle, they searched scrap yards in Suwon City where they thought Mr. Kim might have dumped it. At one scrap yard, just as the owner was about to dismantle a familiar white machine, the detectives intervened. The owner explained it was left at the door, so after waiting about 10 days, I was going to dispose of it. One detective remarked later that it was miraculous how the machine remained at the scrapyard for 13 days and was found by police just as it was being dismantled. The forensic analysis of the found meat cutter was shockingly revealing. It didn't just have blood stains, which you'd expect in a dismemberment case, but also muscle, bone, fat, skin, hair, and nervous tissue, all matching Mrs. Park's DNA.
That's scary.
In total, about 90 pieces of biological evidence were found. With no other way to explain how Mrs. Pak was dismembered using a meat cutter, the police charged Mr. Kim with murder and hiding a body on June 8th after a detailed 3-month investigation. This was while he was already facing arson charges. Throughout the questioning, Mr. Kim stayed silent, never explaining why he might have killed Mrs. Pak. The police pieced together a possible motive from the clues. Mr. Kim, found to have gerontophilia-related materials, had shown interest in Mrs. Pak, becoming more expressive after her husband died. Initially, Mrs. Pak was amicable towards him, but her attitude changed to caution and distance. Their frequent phone calls, as many as 29 in a single month, stopped abruptly after January 17th, 2015.
What happened?
When Mrs. Pak received a sizable land compensation in late January, Mr. Kim asked her for a loan. After she refused and told him to leave the property, investigators believe he decided to murder her.
What?
They found that just before the crime, Mr. Kim had downloaded anatomy diagrams and watched documentaries about dissection.
What?
He also searched for terms like meat mincing and feeding crows.
Meat mince.
Significantly, he bought the meat cutter
eating.
used in the crime online just 4 days before the murder, suggesting it was
Dark Asia, dude. Megan. Why would you say it like that, bro? I fuck with minced meat, dog. I fuck with like the minced meat, like red meat, you know what I'm saying, when it's minced. Bro, you're gonna make me look at that shit different, bro. No ways, dog.
premeditated.
I'm talking about the edible minced meat. I'm talking about minced meat that human beings actually eat, you know what I'm saying? The shit that's healthy for your body and shit like that. Oh my god, dog, don't say
maintained
that.
throughout the trial that the cutter was for woodworking and claimed all the evidence was merely circumstantial. Kwon Hee-ryong, a profiler, labeled Mr. Kim as one of the most challenging suspects he'd encountered, noting that Mr. Kim remained silent for over 20 minutes during interrogation, much longer than most psychopaths who usually start talking within 15 minutes.
For real?
Detective Kim Kyung-yeon noted that throughout the investigation, Mr. Kim was unfazed, eerily saying, "When the time comes, I'll tell you first."
What?
This hinted that there might be more to his story than he was letting on. Amid his consistent denials and lack of remorse, given the shocking nature of Mr. Kim's crime, the Suwon District Court's 15th Criminal Division, led by presiding Judge Yang Chul-han, sentenced him to life in prison in February 2016. The sentence emphasized the need for his permanent removal from society. The court took the indirect evidence seriously, despite the absence of Mrs. Pak's body. It was significant that Mr. Kim was in the annex near the main house around the time Mrs. Pak presumably died. Bloodstains found in the annex and the truck, especially where the fire had erupted shortly before the forensic examination, were crucial pieces of evidence. Moreover, the discovery of Mrs. Pak's blood, fat, and skin on the meat cutter, bought just 4 days before the murder and later found discarded, was seen as definitive proof of the murder. Mr. Kim challenged the verdicts in both the first and second trials, but on December 29th, the Supreme Court confirmed his life sentence. He is now serving that sentence. This case could have remained unsolved, but was diligently pursued by detectives as if they were looking for their own missing family member. They uncovered a horrific crime where the body was not just dismembered, but ground up. In the pursuit of justice, this case reminds us that the truth often finds a way to surface, even in the most challenging circumstances. The law and investigative persistence have ways to bring even the most hidden truths to light. At this moment, our thoughts and deepest condolences go out to Mrs. Pak and her loved ones. She met an undeserved and tragic fate, and it is our sincere hope that she rests in peace and that her family finds some solace in the closure brought by the pursuit of justice. That is all for today. Thanks for watching.
Now, yeah. let us do get into this. We got Amala. I'm so sick of stories like this. Damn. Okay. What is you sick of? Let's hear it.
And when we get into the response from politicians, leadership, and the media when it comes to this heinous crime, I think you're going to be disgusted. Let's talk about it. We're going to get straight into today's story, guys. It goes into the murder of 23-year-old Irina Zaritska, who happened to be a Ukrainian refugee here in the United States. And of course, she is no longer living. Her life was taken by 14-time criminal DeCarlos Brown. Now, I'll read you a little bit from an article here. It says a 23-year-old woman was stabbed to death on a Charlotte train over 2 weeks ago. Now, officials with the Charlotte area transit system have released surveillance footage from the incident. Now, I am going to get into this surveillance footage. It's not going to show the moment of her actually being stabbed by this man, but it is scary, horrifying, absolutely terrible, disgusting. If you don't want to watch this, skip ahead. Here's the clip.
Ooh. That nigga like taking it out slowly too, and it's the shit that he gotta unfold and everything like that. Why? Like why? She just came onto the thing. Already you got murdered. Like damn. Talk about premeditated murder. Nah. Whoa! The blood! Oh! Bro, the blood! What the fuck? No! Now where is she? Where is she? What's going on, dog? Why? No. People are still just like chilling, bro. Dog. Somebody tell me, why is this nigga just like still sitting there? Why is this nigga just still sitting there? Dude, why is this guy just like still standing here, dog? This is not AI, right? Nah, Mala, dog, I thought you know what I'm saying? Why you posting this, bro? I know it's not the deed, but it's like, dog, whoa. It's crazy how the brain will automatically just like latch onto like what's real based off of like, you know, shit like the BLOOD, right? Dripping on the ground, and you know what I'm saying? This nigga literally just MURDERED'd. You think I should spell it out for y'all? Cause I don't want to say it, man. This channel has a strike for real. I'm saying, yo, this is traumatic, dog. Low key, it's traumatizing. Damn. Why? Though this nigga just like, and people are just still sitting there. I'm alive.
So,
why, dog? And why her, dog? Why not just any? Look at his head is weird. His head is fucking weird. He's got a third head. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like instead of third eye, third head, because it's right in the center. Why is your head in the fucking center of your shit like that? What is that? Is that a tat? Wait, is that a tat? What is this area here? I'm sorry, y'all. I cannot remove this because if I remove it, it's gonna like cancel the zoom. But you see what I'm saying? Like this right here. Weirdo, dog. Fuck.
Now 14, to Carlos Brown, who took the life of Irina Zaritska, who, as I
Why?
said, was a Ukrainian refugee.
Okay, at this point, I don't even give a fl. It's like, dog, yo, dog. This one is it's a zoom in on this action. Yes, it's like she was whatever, you know, whatever else is attached to it. The Ukrainian, a foreign national, blah blah. Maybe a disgruntled, maybe, you know what I'm saying, a disgruntlement was caught. You know what I'm saying, from both parties within, like, maybe it's an ex. I don't know why I wanted to say all that, my bad. You know, when I'm on that tree. Yeah, dog, it's like, what the hell, bro? Like, all that side shit, fuck that. Like, did you see what just happened, dog? Why are people just sitting there, dog? Why is there no, like, fuck, stop, just like reaction, like commotion? And another thing too that's making this scary, it's making the public transportation system mad dangerous, dog. I imagine people that depend on that. You know what I'm saying? To get their day-to-day lives moving and going. They depend on like public transportations to get to their jobs and blah blah. And a nigga that looks as regular as this guy, did you see like how regular that situation was? It was so random, like so regular. Like, help me with oh my god, bro. I feel like people like this are gonna make it so that being just a black man really dangerous. They're gonna make that a thing. A black man being dangerous, like really dangerous. I'm talking about making the stereotype real, dog. I'm not talking about, you know what I'm saying, the whole, yeah. I mean, to this day, black men have this, you know what I'm saying, stereotypical, like, criminal, blah, blah, whatever. Especially, you know what I'm saying, considering the kind of black man that, like, has adopted the culture of, you know what I'm saying, whatever the mainstream deems as, like, new hip-hop, like, drill shit, like, drill music, you know what I'm saying, rap shit, you know what I'm saying? Already you got that notion of like you might be dangerous, nigga, but now this nigga's gonna make that real, dog.
And you can see
what?
She's a clearly beautiful girl, not that that matters whatsoever, but she was on this
train
in a baseball cap,
but that's crazy.
And a hoodie or
look
a
at
t-shirt,
that.
sorry, trying to be, it seems unassuming, trying to not come off as somebody who's going to be recognized, who's going to be noticed, who's going to be talked to, and unfortunately, this is how her life has ended at the hands of somebody who should have never been out on the streets, should have never been out in civilization.
What the hell? Oh, this nigga does look scary. He does.
Again, after what he had already done, 13 other crimes. 2 of those crimes being having already assaulted 2 other women, and this individual was allowed back out on the streets. Now, as I said, I was going to get into politicians' responses, leadership responses to this crime, and we're going to talk about the Charlotte mayor, whose name is Vi Lyles, or V. Lyles. Now, she appears to come out against arresting maniacs, okay, these homeless maniacs, as listed here by Colin Rudd, arguing that, quote, we will never arrest our way out of these issues. She says, quote, we will never arrest our way out of issues such as homelessness and mental health. She said this in her initial response to this killing of Irina. She says, quote, I want to be clear that I am not villainizing those who struggle with mental health or those who are unhoused. Mental health disease is just that.
Nah. This guy, that's a psychopath, bro. What the hell, dog? Oh my, you think you can rehabilitate that kind of mind? You think it's possible? Like through like prison reformation and just locking this nigga up. I think it's people like this guy, it might just bring back the death penalty. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, come on, bro. Yo. Nah.
Disease like any other that needs to be treated with the same compassion, diligence, and commitment as cancer or heart disease. Also, those who are unhoused are frequently the victims of crimes and not the perpetrators. Too many people who are on the street need a safe place to sleep and wraparound services to lift them up. We as a community must do better for those members of our community who need help and have no place to go. End quote. Now think about that in response to the video that you just watched of that 23-year-old woman having her life taken. And luckily you didn't see the true heinousness of what actually occurred, what actually took place at
I wouldn't
the
want
end
to see
of her
that.
life.
Who would want to
And
see
think
that?
about responding to that by saying, I want to be clear that I'm not villainizing those who struggle with mental health or those who are unhoused. Does that seem to make sense to you? I'm reminded of the recent shooting that took place at Annunciation Catholic School where those children were gunned down by a trans shooter we spoke about recently on this channel. And then the mayor responds by saying he doesn't want to villainize trans people. Well, yes, we don't want to go around villainizing all trans people for the actions of one. We don't want to go around villainizing all homeless people for the actions of one. But can we not talk about the victim in this case? Can we not talk about how homelessness plays a key role in the victimization of this young woman? Can we not talk about the fact that this person is a 13-time criminal, now 14, who should have never been out on the streets?
My shit exactly. My point exactly, brah. Why is this guy like, yo, dog, bring back that death penalty? My. Should I say it out loud? No. TOS. Luckily, I'm not that big of a channel. You know what I'm saying? I got like 12 subscribers. It's cool. Yo, bring back the DEATH penalty type shit. You feel me? Nah, cause this no ways, bro. This. Oh my, I don't know, man, and this is why I sometimes do understand the antinatalism chat. Antinatalism, bro. Do your homework. Look it up. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of shit that inspires things like that. I don't know whether to call it a philosophy, a POV, or, you know what I'm saying? A mind, I don't know, projection of some sort of reality. You know what I'm saying? That people are on. Antinatalism. It's because of things like, imagine you got a daughter, bro. Imagine like you hear, okay, cool, you got a daughter, blah blah. Everybody DIEs, right? Everybody, you know what I'm saying, everybody dies on GTA, right? But then imagine hearing that your daughter like went like that. That's enough maybe to make the parent off they self on some shit on GTA.
To begin with, who took the life of this individual?
Like watching this, like, and now it's your name, it's your whole family name, like knowing that y'all daughter went out, like, man, come on, bro, watch out.
No, instead, I guess we have to come at this from the woke perspective, the woke framework, the worldview in which we side with the actual villain in this case rather than the victim, because I guess the villain is a black, unhoused, homeless man, okay? And he has more intersectionality points than the 23-year-old Ukrainian woman who lost her life. Please make that make sense. Now, it's not just the mayor who has had an interesting background, I guess, when it comes to this case. The magistrate judge, Teresa Stokes, who's responsible for freeing DeCarlos Brown Jr. The time before he went on to take the life of this young woman, is also listed as the director of operations at Second Chances Services, which is essentially a Charlotte clinic for mental health and addiction. Do we not maybe see that as a conflict of interest, that you're a magistrate judge who is supposed to be responsible for getting these individuals off of the street, and you are...
Marlo, are you telling me people are politicizing this tragic, extremely tragic event?
Also heavily invested in an organization as director of operations that is about second chances. And this is sort of the woke framework when it comes to crime and the criminal justice system. They believe in this sort of restorative justice, that individuals like this...
Nigga, politics, nigga, blah, blah, politics. Politic in this whole... Yo, this is gruesome. This is absolute crazy. What?
Who have labeled them...
People will, like, just latch onto anything that makes headlines. You know what I'm saying? Because obviously some shit like this, like, yo, this is a crazy headline, first of all. Then, yo, fuck, people like in different pockets of certain industries will come just associate with like these kind of things on some like, let me get my, I don't know, it's giving that. It's giving, let me get my little elevation or my little just 2 cents. I don't know, for whatever agenda, but I feel like that's crazy work. I'm just still traumatized. I'm still like, my mind is still on, like, in my mind, watching all of this, what's going through my head is like, bro, like, okay, I understand these things like been happening even before the time of social media and things like this. But like for this shit to be on social media, I'm still thinking about it. Having just watched that video, do you see that beat? That BLOOD, I'm gonna spell everything out for y'all. You know what I'm saying? No TOS. But that BLOOD that was dripping from the guy, like from the, you know what I'm saying, from the knife. Bro, and this guy's just taking off the thing and he's just chilling and people are just still relaxing there, like holding the, you know what I'm saying, that bar thingy that you hold when you, is it a train? A subway thing, whatever. Right? Chilling, just looking at the man, like with all that BLOOD dripping off of him. Nigga, freak out! Nigga, freak out! Like, come on, but like, I'm still like, and all of that shit was even shown on like social media. That's also crazy. I'm effed up in the head right now.
As career criminals, by virtue of being career criminals, deserve chance after chance after chance to be let back into civilization to see if they can do better the next time. And so often this is not the case. How many times should this guy have been arrested before we decided, you know what, you are too much of a threat to society, to people who are following the laws, to unassuming 23-year-old women who are sitting on a bus.
That's what I'm saying. It's making public transportation systems dangerous. How are people supposed to like commute now, bro? Like, that's why people like this are supposed to get in for life. That's why like life sentences is like nothing now, bro. For people like this, life sentences is nothing. Bring back the DEATH sentences, bro. Simple.
Us trying to live their lives, we cannot allow you back into society.
Come on.
At what point
Simple.
do you make that decision? I think it's far before the 14th crime.
Whoa.
And then when we move on from leadership and look at the media to see who's covering the story, we find none of them are covering the story. Let's look at this tweet. Here's a list of all the news networks who have not covered the Charlotte, North Carolina story. New York Times, CNN, Washington Post, MSNBC, NPR, USA Today, Reuters, Axios, which has changed, but I'm going to show you what Axios ends up posting, ABC News, and PBS. Okay, now Axios does end up taking itself off that list by covering this heinous crime, and the way they cover it is this. Grisly Charlotte stabbing video fuels madness crime message. Because as we all know right now, you know, Trump is on this crime crusade to clear.
There we go again, politicizing the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? Like these names always have to like come up, Trump or like some other miscellaneous kind of name like that's just attached to political agendas. It's like, what, man, come on.
Streets of crime to get people to be able to live their lives in a normal fashion where they can actually leave their house and not be worried about being, I don't know, stabbed, shot, robbed.
Bruh. Like somebody that's just probably going through their own little shit. Them motherfuckers was just like probably like, I'm saying, having one of his little psychotic episodes from one of his mental illnesses, bro, that he got. And this nigga, I'm there, or not, let me not make an example of me, nigga, knock on wood. You know what I'm saying? An innocent citizen, bro, like, or an unassuming citizen, just like chilling. You feel me? On the thing, on the bus stop thingy, waiting for the bus. You know what I'm saying? This nigga having his little psychotic episodes, and I'm there. He just like stabbed that other innocent bystander to death, bro. Like, I'm on GTA. Oh my god. Oh. Working on it. Do that thing to that bystander, and then that bystander like lose their LIFE. Bro, come on, bro. And that time you like, it's just a stranger. They don't even know each other. Okay, with this story, I don't know. Like, we don't have the full context. Maybe that's like maybe an ex that stalked his ex on some shit, like knowing where she worked, and like she did him so dirty that nah, dog, I gotta do what I gotta do, like, and I'm gonna get her straight up when she gets off of work, and I know the time and I know the exact bus that she be taking, blah blah blah, right? Maybe there's a backstory to why her specifically. But yo, what if that's not the case? What if it's just like literally a nigga having maybe a I don't even want to say it. A schizo episode. You feel me? An undiagnosed schizo episode. All this nigga just received was like these attempts at rehabilitation by just sending this nigga to prison. Him coming back out, sending him back in. Him coming back out, sending him back in. Him coming back out, sending him back in. Him coming, yeah. Okay, my bad. I'm on, you know what I'm saying? the music in me. Nah, but on the real though, it's like, bro, this nigga like never really got like to really change even. You feel what I'm saying? So how is like all them jail times gonna help this nigga mind so that he doesn't do that to a innocent bystander, bro, civilian, bro?
Any of the crimes, you name it, having their car broken into. So Trump is taking it upon himself to bring the National Guard to DC. He's saying he's going to do the same in Chicago. Apparently the same could be used in a place like Charlotte, North Carolina. And as we've seen, these tactics seem to work. The crime has gone down. But when we look at these Democrat-run cities who are claiming they're really bringing down the crime rate's decreasing, and they're doing so with soft on crime policies, we get videos like this on a bus of a young woman being stabbed and killed. But according to Axios, this is fueling MAGA's crime message. Well, it better be. I mean, don't you think seeing a video like this should alter the hearts and minds of a ton of people who are supposed to be working on these issues? Can we now maybe agree that the soft on crime policies that allowed DeCarlos Brown Jr. to be...
Soft on crime? Is that a thing? Soft on crime? No, wait. Soft on crime policy? Man, what? Soft on crime. Soft on... There's actually like parts of the world that like think this way. Soft on crime policies. What? Yeah. Oh yeah, you. Hold on.
Out on the street time after time after time when committing crimes should not have allowed for that and maybe contributed to the death of this 23-year-old girl. Can we all agree? And you have to ask yourself why. After seeing this video, hearing this story, why is the media not covering it in the way that it should be covered? And I'm not talking about every single front page needing to be covered with the story of this murder. I'm just saying, why can't we find like really one major outlet that even wants to talk about it? Is it maybe because it doesn't fit the narrative that they're trying to force feed the American people? That it doesn't fit their soft on crime policy prescriptions? That it doesn't allow them to fuel the racial animosity that they have towards white people in this country maybe? Is it maybe that it helps to push a George Floyd type story or say that BLM riots are mostly peaceful rather than talk about the killing of a 23-year-old girl by a 14-time criminal on a Charlotte bus? And in this, I'm reminded of a similar story.
14
times. It sucks to say similar story when talking about a heinous crime like this, but the murder of Laken Riley. She was a young woman who was killed on her college campus by an illegal migrant, and you saw as the news went really, really quiet until we started getting actual policy prescriptions to solve the issue that led to her murder. That's when they wanted to speak about it. And when you do get coverage of these crimes from mainstream outlets, it seems to be coverage that is not fully illuminating the issue being that these murders are 100% preventable, avoidable, and the individuals who are committing these murders are repeat criminals that should have never been allowed back into society. And in the case of Laken Riley, an illegal immigrant who should have never been allowed into the United States. And it's not just Irina and Laken, there are other stories like theirs. There's Logan Federico.
That's an interesting spin on the thing.
A 22-year-old who was killed at the University of South Carolina by yet another career criminal. And it seems as though time and time again, when we hear about these crimes taking place,
She said career criminal.
And they're constantly going head to head with our criminal justice system and being allowed back onto the street. In the name of what? I don't know. Restorative justice, which is bullshit. How many more of these stories do you need? How many more senseless deaths? How many more grieving families? How many more soft on crime policies? How many more instances of feeling unsafe in your own community do you need before something takes place here? Now, it seems as though many politicians and these media outlets have made up their minds, at least the ones we've covered in this video. But is it time that we actually call for change that is going to do something to our streets, to our communities, that makes us feel safer? We've seen it work. I'm looking at DC right now, and I'm watching as residents say that they feel safer than they felt in years. They're saying that they can actually walk the streets at night as a woman and not feel the need to have their head on a complete swivel. They're saying they can park their cars in the main parts of the city without worrying that their car is going to get broken into. They're saying that they can go and shop without the fear of the shop they're in being looted. So we know what works. We know that we can no longer move forward with these soft on crime policies.
Wait, there's actually safe parts in the US? What, did you say DC or something?
The call for rehabilitation and restorative justice for people who are going out and assaulting women. And if the media is going to refuse to cover it and politicians are going to refuse to do anything about it, then we need to abandon these outlets and these individuals. It's about time something takes place. And if the story of 23-year-old Irina Zaritska
crazy
to your core, I don't know.
Shake me to deeper than my core, nigga. Pause.
What will? I don't know how many more of these we can take. She was seeking refuge.
And trust me, they about to like get more and more because of like how stories like this can, you know what I'm saying? It can move on social media. Videos can just like go crazy. Look at that. What?
And it seems as though the United States became a more dangerous place for her in the country that she.
That's why I was like so surprised when you're like, there's actually safe parts right out there.
To keep criminals off the streets when they prove time and time again that they do not deserve to be out here among us in civilization.
Among us.
We need to protect our citizens, our people who are trying to live their daily lives. There's no other way to put it. We need law and order, not soft on crime policies. And until then, there will be more Irina Zaritskas and more DeCarlos Brown Jr.'s. Guys, those are my thoughts on this entire situation.
Crazy.
Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. As always, please agree with anything I said in this video. Duke it out, but do so respectfully. We encourage healthy debate on this channel. And if you got anything from this video, like, subscribe, click the notification bell to be notified every single time I post a video for you guys, which is every day.